millions read Virgil's words for over 2,000 years. If you haven't, you're missing the story that shaped Western culture. Welcome back to Memorandum, the podcast where we rediscover the stories of remarkable lives that still speak to our hearts today. I'm Nefertiti, and I'm so glad you're here. Today, we journey back to ancient Rome to meet a man whose words helped define a civilization. Virgil, or as the Romans called him, Publius Virgilius Maro. Virgil was born in 70 BC in a small village near Mantua in northern Italy. Picture a boy growing up surrounded by quiet countryside, fields swaying in the wind, the slow rhythm of rural life shaping his way of seeing the world. He came from a modest farming family, yet he received an excellent education in Cremona, Milan, Naples, and Rome, studying rhetoric, philosophy, and poetry. These years were not loud or dramatic. They were steady years of listening, learning, and shaping his voice. Virgil was not a politician, not a soldier, not a man seeking power. He was a poet, a thoughtful observer of people and of life. And through his words, he would give Rome a story about its destiny, one that would live far beyond him. Virgil's career began with the Eclogues, a collection of 10 pastoral poems. These poems were set among shepherds and fields, but they quietly reflected the turbulence of Rome's civil wars. Through their gentle dialogues, Virgil gave people a vision of hope, of a golden age that could come again. He followed this with the Georgics, 4 books that honored farming, hard work, and living in harmony with the land. They were not just practical guides, but meditations on perseverance, on the balance between human effort and the forces of nature. And then the masterpiece, the Aeneid. The Aeneid is more than an epic. It is Rome's national poem. Across 12 books, Virgil tells the story of Aeneas, a Trojan prince who survives the fall of Troy, carries his father on his back, and leads his people to a new homeland in Italy. Imagine it like this. In books 1 through 6, Aeneas is a wanderer. We see storms at sea, encounters with gods, in the unforgettable love story of Aeneas and Dido of Carthage. When Aeneas must leave Dido to fulfill his destiny, her heartbreak becomes one of the most moving scenes in literature. In books 7 through 12, Aeneas becomes a warrior and founder. He fights battles in Italy, faces fierce rivals, and ultimately secures the future that will one day become Rome. Throughout the Aeneid, themes of duty, fate, and sacrifice echo again and again. Aeneas is often torn between personal happiness and the greater mission placed upon him by the gods. Virgil gives us a hero who is not perfect, not invincible, but deeply human. Aeneas grieves, struggles, doubts, and yet moves forward. Think about this. When you are faced with a choice between what is easy and what is meaningful, which path do you take? Virgil invites us to see ourselves in Aeneas, not just as readers of history, but as participants in our own journeys. Every setback is part of a larger story we are still writing. Virgil passed away in 19 BC, before he could finish editing the Aeneid. He reportedly wished for the manuscript to be burned, believing it was incomplete. Instead, Emperor Augustus ordered it to be preserved and published, a decision that allowed generations to experience Virgil's vision. His influence has stretched across centuries. In the Middle Ages, Virgil was revered as a wise guide, so much so that Dante chose him to lead him through the Inferno in Purgatory in the Divine Comedy. Renaissance humanists saw in Virgil the ideal poet-philosopher. Modern writers from T.S. Eliot to Seamus Heaney have drawn inspiration from him. So what lessons can we take from Virgil today? Patience and craft. Virgil spent years shaping each line of the Aeneid, working with such care that it was said he wrote only a few lines each day. He shows us that meaningful work takes time and refinement. Resilience and purpose. Aeneas reminds us that even when our plans are shattered, we can build something lasting if we stay committed to a larger purpose. The power of story. Virgil gave Rome not just entertainment, but a shared identity, a story that connected the present with the past and inspired confidence in the future. We too can use our own stories to encourage others and leave a legacy that matters. Thank you for joining me today on Memorandum Podcast as we celebrated the life and words of Virgil, the poet who gave Rome its soul and offered all of us a timeless lesson about courage, destiny, and hope. If today's story spoke to you, take a moment to share this episode with a friend who loves history, poetry, or just a good story that stirs the heart. Don't forget to subscribe to Nefertiti Memorandum Podcast and turn on notifications so you never miss a new episode. I'm back with another iconic story that will leave you inspired and ready to write your own chapter in history. I'm Nefertiti, and this is Memorandum Podcast, where every story is a bridge from the past to your present.